Well, how's everyone doing? So, take a little bit extra time to kind of look at things around. So, I'm checking to see if I'm live. Well, it says I'm streaming to Den.show, but I can't seem to get Den.show to come up because it says this deployment is currently paused. So, haven't seen anything on Den.show socials. Um, Sadly, we've had a little bit of a break with regards to, well, with regards to decentralized on-chain media. Definitely looking to see more groups come back in the game. I get it; it's expensive, but Zora leaving for Solana. I'm streaming on Zora. Um, Hopefully, it's live. uh, Retake moved to Solana. They're agentic only. Can't seem to get Den.show to to look and just check on that. So yeah, I mean, Twitter is the game. With regards to abstract, um, they're asking for to be abstract focused, and I totally get that. I don't have any abstract specific things to talk about today, so because of that, I won't be streaming to abstract. It'll only be when I actually have content there, just to be fair of what they want for their community. They want abstract's not a streaming chain, and this is from Saucy himself. Um, Streaming is part of the flywheel to bring people to abstract. So, out of respect for what they want with that, I personally don't have anything to say about abstract today. So, I'm just going to I don't want to be in a situation where I actually get kicked off the platform for talking about something that's not abstract focused. So, out of respect for them, I'm obviously very thankful for all of the support that I get, regardless of what the platform is. We're just going to have to figure out a better way to work to get more of that together. Anyway, this is the Work With Me stream. So what happens with this stream is I am putting together the newsletter for our members at Beacon DeFi, our education company, and for our high ticket mastermind. So want to kind of just do the work to put that in, holding myself accountable by doing that. So, feel free to look along with the sources that I look at. Actually, I'm a little late because I was trying to debug a couple of my AI agents that I have to specifically grab news. So that's why I'm late. Today was supposed to be honestly a little bit of a heavy day, but I'll have to look at the debugging as to why things are not looking positive. 1 second. I have a slow mouse too. Anybody ever have a slow mouse and it's just like, ugh, I need to find a better mouse. It's funny. It's like the one time that I need all of it to work well, and it's just like I had 3 mice that don't work. If it were up to me, I'd rather have a trackball. My trackball's not working. The sensor in half of my stuff is failing. Just one of those days, Um, Today was supposed to be the day we actually put down our cat, our oldest girl, sweet, sweet girl, but didn't happen. She's showing some fight, so we figured it just isn't her time today. Maybe that doesn't mean that tomorrow may not be the day, but taking it day by day. Realized that today was not that day. Okay, so let's look at the article, shall we? Just as a heads up, of course, to talk to you about the stack, I use Sigma OS. Shout out to the team at Sigma OS for the for using this. And I don't know if it's just laziness. I haven't gotten off. But what I like about Sigma OS as a browser, and this is Mac only, if I'm not mistaken. The reason why I like Sigma is because they have really great keyboard shortcuts. Keyboard shortcuts are good for me. I can just click on one button, and it tells me exactly what I need in terms of what I'm looking for. So that's always good. So let me just make that a little bit bigger. Okay, so, and frankly, to kind of quote a couple people on the timeline today, crypto's fairly boring. It's true. We're just kind of putzing around, waiting for some news. I mean, obviously, let's look at the charts, right? So what we're looking at today is BTC kind of rangy, and I talked about this last week. I feel like we're in probably some type of extended sideways type of action. I think is going to sit around for a while. ETH reclaiming 2K is a positive sign, and Solana inching back closer to that 85 is going to be interesting. But we're in a situation where markets are starting to look a little wonky. But I do think we continue a sideways movement, and apparently my share screen is not working. Let me just do the entire screen. And see if that changes it. No, that doesn't change it. Sigma OS. Oh, duh. Wait, no. I'm in Sigma OS. Why did it not move? Why is my screen not sharing? That's annoying. And this is the one thing that kind of bothers me a bit about Ecamm. Sometimes it just kind of breaks down. There we go. But yeah, we're looking fairly sideways here. And for LPs, for delta neutral, for hedging, this is a good thing. How long we stay in this pattern, I guess, depends on how much the world continues to kind of go sideways. Man, we're looking at 21 again on Fear and Greed. It was what, 2 weeks ago. So people are getting kind of comfy. And I've been seeing some longs being taken out, some big longs. So we'll see where we go from here. All right, so let's look at let's go look at the articles. I think a lot of it depends too on where oil goes from here, right? That's kind of the one thing that people are looking to see exactly with the Strait of Hormuz, and seeing where commodities like not only just oil but liquefied natural gas (LNG), where that goes from here as well. Probably the biggest news on my timeline this morning is NASDAQ and Kraken partnering. I already have an article on this, but NASDAQ and Kraken, and then XStocks and NASDAQ. XStocks is on Solana, and NASDAQ partnering for tokenized stocks. So that's pretty big news. So that's the start of the week, and we'll see exactly where we are from here. Also big, Zodal, well, Zashi, now called Zodal. And again, I already have an article already open on this, raising 25 million in seed for a round, which is huge for them. They're not the only team that made a big raise. KAST, K-A-S-T, the card, the Bitcoin and just regular digital asset card raises, I think it was 50 million in round. So congrats to them. Congrats to Zcash. Congrats to everybody who's involved with the team, with Zashi and Zodal. This is big news for them, which means I probably need to update my Zcash wallet in just a little bit, although I'm sure it's fine. I have some content coming out on that. Unfortunately, with everything going on with the family and our cat, it's been a bit chaotic. I still have some other types of content I need to put out as well with regards to like Exodus Pay and some stuff like that. So look out for that content soon. Um, so Sonic Labs creating their own stablecoin, um, which is probably something they needed to do, even though they have native USDC. They have USDT 0. They did have Tree's Ring protocol, SCUSD, till all of that with Stream Finance totally sent that down the shitter. So, um, well, we'll see exactly. Wow, they're down. They're down to just 34 million TVL, down 97% from this time last year. Whew. Man, I remember just how much this was going to be different, right? Sonic doing their big airdrop. The Genesis started, so January 2025 was going to be the start. Um, and then they were going to have a great airdrop for Phantom Opera holders that was going to do all kinds of stuff, and they did none of that. In fact, they just released like a short amount saying there's going to be a second season, which was kind of weird. And they're still not, they weren't going to, you know, reward FTM holders. And again, they don't have to. It was just sad more than anything. I mean, Danny's protocols, right? WAGMI, Hayanon, not completely going anywhere. Flying Tulip, which Andre Cronje raised, what, 200 million? Not really going anywhere. Not really sure exactly what's taking so long for Sonic to just get up and go, if I'm being honest. And they're not being very talkative about it. But this is an interesting update. It's a Frax algo stablecoin with backing from BlackRock, Superstate, and Wisdom Tree. So this is okay. This is a little bit different. How much is the S token right now? Oh God, I haven't looked in a minute. We've been out of Sonic for a while, to be quite honest. Just because we just didn't think that it was looking at. I mean, they're pretty much close to zero. I mean, we were looking at 32 cents as a possible scoop zone. Well, it's just gotten worse. Man, shout out to some of the people trying to keep Sonic alive. Hopefully y'all are doing okay. I know that quite a few are involved with Hyper EVM, so we'll see how that all rolls. The idea is to create a self-reinforcing liquidity loop rather than relying on mercenary capital with third-party market makers. I mean, that'd be lovely. The problem is your chain TVL is $34 million. How do you get people to come back to Sonic and feel good about being there? Clearly the airdrop and, changing the terms a week before going live with the airdrop, back in June really kind of changed the way people looked at things. It's rough, man. Rough. Aeon. It's actually quite big. They're testing stablecoin payments with Paxos. That is the deal. That's the partnership. Aeon and Paxos. So this is very big for this is insurance. So bringing more of this on chain, or at least with on chain access, is going to be huge. Premium settlement with this pilot. Interesting. USDC on Ethereum and PYUSD on Solana. Man, look at that. PYUSD continuing to get love. And then you have the other version of PYUSD. Was it PYUSDX with MoonPay and PayPal? More we talked about integration, right? $300 billion in stablecoin market cap, not dropping, guys. That means stablecoins are here to stay and it's only going to get bigger from here. Her hair looks great today. I really like that look on Jen. Okay, so that's big news. I saw that on the timeline earlier. 20 million Bitcoin have been mined. There's less than 1 million coins left. So here's the fun part. There's been what, 3 halvings? It's going to take 114 years to mine the next million Bitcoin. or something like that. It's a long number. So it's just like, I mean, that's where the halving policy comes in. But still, 21. There's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin, and they've mined the first 20 million already. I mean, it is what it is, right? So that this is meant to bring in supply shock, FOMO. And rewards are just going to get smaller and smaller. But that's, I mean, that should bring the price of Bitcoin up, right? We'll see specifically how this works out. But that's also on my timeline already, so I'm not going to grab that one. Strategy and BitMine also scooped up a bit of Bitcoin and Ether here. So people are buying, guys. This is good stuff. I mean, granted, they were never going to not buy, right? So if you're doing what's called DCAing or dollar cost averaging, you don't really care about the price of the asset. You're just going to be buying anyway because you believe long term into the future of how that's going to play out. Also on my timeline, I don't think I see it here. Arthur Hayes put out an article saying why he thinks that hype is going to be a ridiculous number by August 30th. Let's see if I can find it. Hype is going to $150 by August 2026. That'll definitely be one for the group to be reading. There's my don't get scammed on Zoom post on Zora. No idea if that's ever actually coming back. I mean, for him to say this with Maelstrom is, that granted, he said a lot of things, right? HIP3, obviously a huge driver for traffic. If you haven't watched Beat the Banks, our Friday community training, definitely watch that. It's there. It's here. If you're watching me on Twitter, go back on my Friday post. I talk about perp dexes and how they work, how the recent war has driven a lot of perp dex movement or looking for people looking to speculate on the price of oil. So perp dexes using Hyperliquid, and in this case markets.xyz, because they have US oil as a perp you can actually take directional leverage on. These are all going to be things that are going to be important. Now, the moment that Hyperliquid becomes mobile friendly or almost mobile first through a couple of different projects that are running, that's going to put perp dexes and perpetuals in the hands of everyday traders, and it'll be up to marketing and people like myself to, I guess, talk about why it's important to have decentralized access to these commodities as opposed to trying to buy them through a broker, because frankly that's your other option. But here in a decentralized arena, you can do that pretty much for free. Not free, you know what I mean, without too much of an issue. So that's going to be some fun reading for later on. I realize that my screen stopped sharing again, so let's, maybe it doesn't like me talking too long about something. Who knows? It was fine for a good 20 minutes. Open interest to 1.5 billion now on Hyperliquid. That's actually quite large. How United Nations Development Program is using blockchains for public infrastructure. Interesting. Oh, this is sponsored by the United Nations. Right. Anyway, more blockchain tech. I'm sure people would love to learn more about that. And again, my screen share is borkied. Annoying. Supremely annoying. There's our, I'm sorry, it wasn't 50 million, it's 80 million for Cast. Congrats to them. I have my Cast card here in my bag. If I go to Vegas next month for Bitcoin Vegas, I'm sure I'll see them again, because they were out just handing out cards last April in Vegas. Okay. So this is fun. So the Treasury, what was the whole point of the whole Roman Storm thing, right? I mean, granted, of course, Bassett and Treasury are going to signal shift on this. This is not crazy. It's not news. Granted, they've also removed Tornado Cash from getting hit as well. So this is you can take those signals any way that you want. Yeah, I mean, yes, of course, privacy has its uses. Banks will run RWAs on 2 blockchain rails, says this is probably Marcin. Yeah, Marcin Kamerzak. Kazmirchak is probably the correct way to pronounce that. I apologize if that's not. Okay. So between private networks like Canton, which it is, Canton is a private blockchain, EVM compatible, but private, different mechanisms, and public chains on Ethereum. Okay, so that's all that means. Got it. Nothing new there. Talked about Polkadot last week, so good for them. Actually, I don't think we did, now that I think about it. I mean, I talked about it on Friday during our mastermind call. Polkadot did a huge, passed a huge governance bill, which will cap supply. It will also stop buybacks and burns, instead create a governance-backed pool for funding things. I mean, I'm always grateful for the free food and parties that Polkadot puts on, whether it's at Consensus or just at East Denver with the Block Space Church. Met a lot of great people. Has been a really great networking experience. This is hopefully Polkadot's attempt. Well, it's their attempt, of course, but this is hopefully going to help people start building en masse on Polkadot, because that hasn't been the case for the last 18 months. A lot of builders on Polkadot, but I mean, outside of BitTensor, which is substrate compatible, by the way, what else is really being built? Feel free to check me on this, because I don't know. I don't know. Would love to learn more about how this is all, going down with Polkadot. So, Solstice Camino announcement. This is what I was looking at. Solstice, of course, is up and coming. So today, Solstice and Camino announced a new product or feature. No details were provided. Well, let's check out what Camino has to say today. Nothing with Solstice just yet, but they're talking about Prime, which is RWA with HELOCs, home equity lines of credit. Yeah, looks like they haven't made the announcement just yet, but I'm sure they will at some point today. Bitcoin.D is down at 50. BTC.D is at 58%. Interesting. I wonder what Benjamin Cowan has to say about this. Not only is Smart Capital rotating into Ethereum, they're actually staking into it. They're staking into Ethereum. That's a good sign. When you see companies coming and staking into validators, there's of course a bonding and unbonding period with the queue. That's confidence in Bitcoin in Ethereum doing well. U.S. economy continuing to lose jobs. I mean, with prices going up, unemployment starting to increase. We'll see exactly where this all goes with regards to risk markets. Yeah, we had a terrible day on the stock market on Friday, right? So we'll see where we go from here. Poly market still continuing to go well. Same with Kalshi. AI agent attempts unauthorized crypto mining during training. Yeah, tokenized asset. I mean, this is the year, right? This is the year of movement. This is the year it's going to happen. So it shouldn't be big news that everything's quadrupling, because that's the way it's supposed to happen with tokenization. State level stablecoin oversight bill. What is this about? Okay. So state oversight will be aligning with what's under the Genius Act. I thought they were coming up with their own stablecoin, just like that they did with what they did in Wyoming. Okay, so it's been passed. It just has to go to Governor DeSantis' desk. First state to pass a stablecoin framework in the nation. That's good. Let's see how things go. It's now to you, Florida man. This is also good. ETF inflow is back up. Now 2 weeks in a row. Interesting. People are saying that David Sachs passed away. I'm like, I don't believe that's true. But it's true. He hasn't said much in the last 3 weeks. I thought that to me, I think that's fascinating, considering that he's both the czar, that's his title, the czar for both crypto and AI. With all of the issues happening between Anthropic and the War Department, You would think David Sachs would have had to say something there. He didn't say anything. So, very interesting. XRP continuing to slip. I was talking about this on Friday as well, where XRP is starting to really try and incentivize builders to build on XRPL and the EVM sidechain. I hope they get that done soon, because they have. I mean, we were talking about Sonic having terrible TVL. XRPL has atrocious TVL. Like, I would even use the word anemic to describe XRPL's TVL. It is awful. And they need to get DeFi services for these holders. You just want people to hold XRP the entire time? No, people want to work their XRP. They want the passive income. They want the advantages of holding XRP. Yeah, LATAM user growth is starting to outpace US. That's interesting. I'll hopefully have a hand in that. Yeah, now we're getting close to, and it's just been a kind of a quiet. This will be interesting. Utexo will be a payments infrastructure for Layer 1 Bitcoin. And I guess they're looking, well, it's backed by Tether, so that makes sense, to bring native USDT transactions to Bitcoin Layer 1. Curious to see how that works. Is that kind of like Hermetica? Because Hermetica, which is USDH, you stake your native Bitcoin and you receive a specific amount of USDH, which is Hermetica's stablecoin, in return. Well, maybe this will tell us. Today, the majority of USDT transactions occur on networks such as Ethereum or Plasma or Tron. Plasma specifically was created to fight Tron, to vampire attack them. Okay, so this is really just more for using Bitcoin security specifically for sending USDT in a UTXO environment. Okay. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, Lightning Network is very fast. Block time on L1 is terrible. I mean, now I should walk that back. It's just different. 10-minute block times, right? On Layer 1 Bitcoin. Layer 2 Lightning, definitely not. Curious to see how Utexo works out. I remember seeing that on my timeline not that long ago, and it's like, that'll be interesting. A lot of crypto projects have shut down as well. Just this year, a lot. Eight's a very small number. It's more than that, way more than that. Had a lot of teams run out of runway. A lot of teams really just couldn't achieve product market fit, or PMF, and they had to shut down. We had teams that were going to release something, but an AI-based product put them out. These are all things that are very real, that have happened. Community banks and crypto industry are allies in the Clarity Act. I mean, I would hope so. I would like to think that small and medium-sized banks could be the engine that makes Clarity work. Now, you ask Jamie Dimon, that's the complete opposite, but of course he's going to say that. Okay. Nothing crazy here. Nothing really else to talk about. Let's look at Google News. A crypto coin is gobbling up U.S. Treasuries. What would that coin be, sir? Ah, this is a stable coin. It's a stable coin article. It's Tether. It's an article about Tether. Got it. It's because Tether owns more T-bills than, a quarter of the world, at least. They're like top 20 now for the holding of U.S. treasuries as opposed to countries in the world. And that's saying something. I mean, that's a lot of money. Yeah, so this is interesting, right? A lot of people are leaving Dubai. Of course, it makes sense. I mean, with everything going on with the missile attacks and whatnot, there's like drone explosions, Iran, sending out missiles to countries just to say, hey, we're here and we're ready to strike if you're going to be against us. It's a bit bold to do token in Dubai. I mean, if the floods from last year weren't big enough, I'm kidding. Uh, yeah, very curious to see how this one goes. I'm not going to token in Dubai. I mean, if I go to any token event, it'll be the one in Singapore. But, hmm. Nothing huge here. Wisconsin lawmakers debate crypto staking as bankers warn of fraud and consumer risks. Of course they're going to say that because they don't want you taking away business from them. Staking lets users lock their digital assets onto the blockchain for a set period of time with the hope of earning more rewards. Current state law forbids didn't even know there was a state law forbidding the practice, defining it as a form of unauthorized securities trading. A Wisconsin bill would change that, exempting digital asset staking from that definition. It's already passed the Assembly, and it could be up before the full Senate later this month. And here we go. Tiara Nicole is a Milwaukee-based artist who's been advocating for this legislation. She said cryptocurrency has allowed her to have a positive source, or rather a source of passive income that supports her creative work. Right, so we have one person talking about this here, and then Adam Nealon, who has championed other cryptocurrency legislation, argued that Wisconsinites, I didn't know that's what Wisconsin natives were called, Wisconsinites, lose out on millions of dollars by not having access to this process. Blockchain is a tool, much like AI, that's going to be used by entrepreneurs and companies to kind of compete with larger companies and be able to get a lot more for a lot less. Yeah, so this bill is also supported by the National Blockchain. That's a weird way to frame that, guys. Oh, Wisconsin's just one of 4 states that don't allow staking. Didn't know that. Interesting. We want clarity, not confusion. There you go. More of that. Now, if we were to talk about this in a common sense way, that makes no sense, right? I mean, obviously people are free to make the decisions that they want. But the problem with the problem not having a Clarity Act is that there isn't clear rules as to what should happen. With that said, you kind of have to weigh the points of, Is staking online with something like Coinbase any better than staking at your local bank, right? It's a nuanced answer, right? Because we believe here at Beacon, I'm wearing the Beacon shirt here, the Beacon University shirt. Not your keys, not your crypto, right? You store your money inside of Coinbase. You have counterparty risk. What happens if Coinbase just feels the need based on suspicious activity to just close and freeze your assets? That can happen unless you are someone like Kevin Durant. After 13 years, figure out a way to remember that one password that brings you a couple $1,000,000 in Bitcoin that you bought previously. Not everyone has that, but should everyday people have access to digital or blockchain-based returns on their capital? The answer should be overwhelmingly yes. People like me and others like me who are trying to spread awareness about how these systems work, we're actively being stopped by regular legislatures or people in the banking lobby from getting this information out because they feel that there is not proper protections out there. And I understand that. I mean, that's the same whether you're looking at things like weight loss drugs, suntan lotion, variety of things that are banned because we don't understand how they work, right? But if you have the right education, you should be able to do this on your own. The issue that will probably come up later is the fact if you're using DeFi, you're using the ecosystem of mesh computers that run on blockchains. None of them are owned by the state of Wisconsin or anybody. You're also, for the most part, on your own unless you're going with someone that offers a personal guarantee, like Aave, for example, up to $1 million in protection. So, you are protected in that state. Not in that state, but in that case. So there's a lot to chew through with that. But hopefully that we see something for Wisconsin. Let's go to Llama Feed because there's really not a whole lot left to talk about. Well, look at that. Courts look to write off crypto debts to avoid personal bankruptcies. Is this a South Korea thing? Yeah, this is a South Korea thing. Daejeon, Daegu, and Gwangju. Huh. I mean, play with fire. You can get burned, right? Bitcoin could be the big winner if the US-Iran conflict drags on for months. That's actually true. So far, it's been a fairly positive sign for the markets so far. Because people have always argued that Bitcoin's a hedge for inflation, right? Yeah, nothing big here that we haven't already talked about. Yeah, nothing crazy there. Let's see if we can scrape our way. Is there anything interesting that's happening here? Has Camino updated? There it is. Nope. How about the Solstice? Nope, nothing on Solstice just yet. But Henri, which is a RWA market on Solana. Okay, so it's just talking about Henri's ability to scale. Okay. Nothing super new there then. Solstice. Is it Solstice Phi? Yeah, Solstice Phi. USX being over collateralized, that's fine. But I don't think I see anything with regards to Camino. Guess we'll find out. Do another quick sweep here. We'll refresh the page. Nothing we haven't already talked about. So yeah, I mean, just to kind of peek into this one right here, there's, in my opinion, two really untapped markets for crypto and blockchain, and that's going to be I mean, if you want to make it three: Africa, Latin America, Southeast Asia, outside of Singapore, right? Singapore and Hong Kong. Those are going to be the three big areas where blockchain's going to start to build, because in this year of integration, now we've got other groups really just starting to bring in that whole thing, right? With the Philippines being one of the first, well, being the first country to bring their treasury on chain. They worked with a blockchain company to build their Bayanihan chain, which is their own private blockchain where they're going to be using blockchain tech to manage their treasury on chain. This is great for transparency. This is great for accountability. There's a lot of things that are going to be good. And then soon, maybe that leads to hopefully, better stablecoin access, things like that. Things that could be helpful for the average citizen there in the Philippines to do regular commerce using digital assets. So that's exciting. Same thing with Nigeria. Nigeria has always been a huge hotbed, specifically for blockchain. Coinbase has a pretty good presence in Africa. I will say XRP had the lead, in my opinion, for a lot of crypto digital asset commerce, but they've done not a lot with it. So just a lot of promises. So Coinbase is moving. Base Africa is good. There's a lot of Southeast Asian chapters for Base blockchain that are also doing well for Coinbase across the world. So Latin America, I think, is probably the next huge market to kind of really take advantage of blockchain. Now, there are multiple groups that have been working in Latin America for quite some time. Shout out to the team from ABC Labs and Reserve Protocol. They've had multiple stablecoin baskets that have gone through for making it so that, especially in areas with hyperinflation, underbanked, those types of things have all been good with stablecoins in those markets. So Latin America is still a hotbed for such things. In fact, when Binance was doing their MasterCard, they tested out in Latin America first, because they know that that's a place where these types of digital assets will actually work well. So yeah, excited to see where more of this growth in these areas go. We could certainly use it. There's a lot of companies in the world or a lot of groups in the world that, if they had better buying power with access to digital assets, they could really change the way things are. Now, I know of a couple really big projects in Africa I can't talk about because of, those types of things. But there's a lot of commodities that are looking to go digital to help farmers, help entrepreneurs, that are hopefully going to work really well moving forward, using digital assets, using decentralized assets, stable coins, and other types of payment profiles. So anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. Not a whole lot left here. It's been a fairly uneventful week outside of the quote-unquote special military conflict going on in Iran. Escalations are happening, so we're going to start to see more movement. In fact, I think from a blockchain perspective, we saw a lot of people withdrawing, and I don't know if I talked about this last week, Norbitex, which is Iran's centralized exchange, saw a massive amount of outflows from the exchange out to self-custody wallets, as people were trying to get into Bitcoin, get into ETH, and take that out to a hardware wallet or some type of other wallet they have under their control. This is the power of being in a situation like that. So hopefully this works out well in their favor. And, you know, and what I mean by that is I hope Iranian citizens or people in areas of strife can understand that having access to digital assets is actually good for them because your key is your crypto, right? Self custody is a huge responsibility. It's also a very big piece of freedom that I think all people on this planet deserve to know what that feels like. Not having your money stuck in a bank, uh, where they can track everything that you do and all this stuff. Granted, that's what banks are for. You're using, the knowledge of the people in that industry to help keep your funds safe. And I totally get that. But there's a large growing number of people who believe that after all of the scams, all of the security issues that they've had out there, maybe assets are better left in your own care. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. So, with that said, thanks for joining me today. Wasn't sure if we are going to have this call, mainly because we were thinking we possibly were going to put down our cat. And that was the same thing with last Wednesday's TVL podcast. So we'll see. It's kind of a day by day thing, but today, after things that happened last night and this morning, it clearly just wasn't her time. So take care, stay safe, and yeah, see you Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern for the TVL show. 07.